Hello and welcome back to this channel. I am Dr. Anshu coming back with the today's Hindu Today analysis. So let's have a recap what we are going to cover. First of all, starting the day with the thought of day that believe in yourself and anything is possible. So the front page is covering about the SC Collegium recommends transfer of Justice Verma. Dhankar discusses judicial accountability with Nada Kharge. Second page is covering about the tulip garden of Blooming Valley, and Maharashtra wants a Kamra's apology for joke on Sinde. Police detain thousands as the unrest spread in Turkey, and civic authorizes a raise homes of Nagpur violence accused before HC intervenes. Editorial covering is a colossal wastage that is food for thought. Fourth is about the China's ties, beware constellation without deterrence. And fifth is about it's time to ditch a sexist campaigns slogans. Sixth article is about truth and transparency and lessons not learned. Seventh is about the DBT complete sequencing of 10,000 TB genome samples. Eighth page covering what Indian Navy announces a matter India's African exercise IOS Sagar and center concerned over a hospital not sharing organ transplant data. And ninth is the last slide shows about the center issues of guidelines to tackle high rate of job card deletion under Manregas. So these are all for today. Let's have starting with the front page about the SC Collegium recommends to transfer Justice Verma. Already the case was going the inquiry from the Supreme Court and the Collegium system will recommend the transfer of Justice Verma from Delhi High Court to Allahabad. So the Collegium system under the Sanjeev Khanna headed by Chief Justice of India Sanjeev Khanna and resolution repatriated to Justice Verma to his parent High Court of Allahabad was taken as a meeting held on the Monday earlier, and the proposal was to transfer Justice Verma first instance mooted by the Supreme Court Collegium and Delhi High Court Chief Justice D.K. Upadhyay agreed with the Supreme Court Collegium proposal to transfer the justice on the evening of 20 itself by saying that it would be better for administration of justice. So the review verdicts of Justice Verma Allahabad High Court Bar is against the Justice Yashwant Verma that judgments delivered by him during the tenure as a judge be reviewed. Next, about the discussions on the judicial accountability with Nada and so there is a allegations. There's a Mallikarjun Kharge on judicial accountability against the backdrop of allegations of a discovery of sacks of half-burned currency from the residence of Delhi High Court judge. So there is claiming a doubt on judicial accountability. So Mr. Dhankar said that decided to wait for a finding of in the House inquiry panel appointment by CGI of India before moving ahead with the issue. So meeting came with the wake of Mr. Dhankar recalling the political parties' unprecedented consensual support to National Judicial Appointment Commission NJC Act 2014 that was struck by the Supreme Court in October 2015. A staunch critics of Supreme Court order, Mr. Dhankar said, would have called a meeting for a floor leaders and all parties to discuss NJC issue and take it forward, the issue to be deliberated with the floor leaders. So he praised CGI Sanjeev Khanna for being impactful and transparent about the cash recovery row. Next is the news that is so much trending about the stand-up comedian Kunal Kamras. So there is apology for the joke on Shinde. So there was a song was released on a YouTube by Kunal Kamra about the political system in the of Maharashtra, and there was a and next day their studio was broken, everything were messed up there just because he uses the freedom of expressions, freedom of speech and expressions. So it can't be allowed into arbitrariness. So there was also there is apologies for the comments on the Deputy CM Ekanath Shinde during the show, calling it a political contract, and he's also check his call data to record the bank on statement to ascertain who is behind this. So a first FIR has been registered against the stand-up comedian by Shiv Sena MLA Murji Patel under the section, and these all are section implemented on him just for showing the reality that is in the that is about the political parties. So the section 353 1B, 353 to 356 2 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sahinta at MIDS police station in Mumbai, and the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation raised illegal structure outside the Habitat studio where the continuous show was held, and it said it would screen the locations of any further illegalities. So just one after the show, and these comments on him, and after the next day these municipal corporation said that this is an illegal structure outside the Habitat studio, and issue also rocked there. So these are the ruling Mahaviti Alliance demanded action in both houses, and the freedom of expression can't be allowed turn into arbitrariness, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said. So Mr. Kamra could not save himself by scenes by showing Rahul Gandhi constitution, the Chief Minister said. The action came to be criticism and against the government to intolerance to jokes. So these are happening there. Next is the Tulip Garden in the memorial of Indira Gandhi in the Srinagar. That blooming reason is coming. There is a 70 lakh tulips with the 74 varieties, and the gardeners will welcome the visitor on the from Wednesday. These are the tulip garden there. Next is the police detained thousands as the unrest spread in Turkey. So more than 1100 people. It's more than 1100 people. Journal since the recap of Tayyip Erdogan main rival sparked the country. So these the countries just showing off the becoming a dictatorship. The demonstration is Istanbul after the mayor Ekrem İnegöl arrest last week have a spread of more than 55 Turkey 81 provinces, and police drawing the international condemnation. Mr. Imamoglu was not voted on Sunday. The main opposition party candidate for 2028 presidential run with some 15 million people showing the support, and the riots also take place by beating the people in Istanbul. And before dawn, the people detained 10 Turkish journalists, home including a few photographer, for covering the protest. So these are happening there. Just photo for detention of the rule. So next is about the colossal wastage, that is the food for thought. The writer is beautifully presented this the food wastage every extremely large scale. So that is food for thought. So there is a food waste index report released by UNEP, United Nations Environment Program. Questions can be asked, so it is important. So reveals that the world wasted 1.05 billion tons of food, equating nearly 20% of food available to consumer, and its demand our immediate attention. So what is the wastage versus loss? Food wastage defined as a FWR 2024 includes edible and inedible parts discarded from the food supply chain from the manufacturing and retail to the restaurant and the household. So these differ from food loss, which occurs earlier in supply loss due to storage issues such as poor storage and transport handling. So report highlights that India's position is one of the highest food wasting nations. Second one, China. So you can see the data that there is not any food to eat. Rather than the food are wasting there. So while the per capita household food waste in India is 55 kilogram annually, is lower than some other countries like United Nations 73 kg. India's large population means that it still represent that because the population is large. So that if US has wasting 73 kg per large population. 73 kg of but India, due to large population, even after wasting 55, it is led to much immense volume of wasted food. So the food worth $1 trillion million is wasted globally, and it's one constitutes 783 million people are facing hunger. The crisis is particularly serious in India, well estimated, even though the 20 crore Indian go to supply food chain and over purchasing, the buying more groceries, improper meals ahead of time, small refrigeration refrigerator, or lack of cool, dry pantries, or cultural habit is excessive. So measuring the environmental impact is like the food production is a resource intensive, and when the food is wasted, so there are a precious resources. In India, food waste account for 10 to 12% of total municipal wastage, contributing to significantly methane emission from landfills. And methane is a potent greenhouse gas produced when organic matter decomposes without oxygen. So UN climate change 24 reports that there is a food loss of waste generated is 8 to 10%, and this annual greenhouse gas emission, when the methane is produced, so that it contributes to the greenhouse gases. And if the food waste is in the form of country, it would be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gas after China and US. It will be the third country. Can you imagine? So the US, how just because of food wastage. Minimizing the greenhouse gases emission, household level actions, adopting sustainable diets, eating more plant-based food, less meats are crucial. So the social injustice is in India is indelible. Like if zero hunger, no poverty, zero hunger. If the sustainable development goals, it comes in a two, but uh, zero hunger, it comes to the sustainable development goal 12, that is reduce food waste at a retail and consumer levels. So climate change further intensifies the food security, rising temperature, erratic monsoons. So action need to be taken approaches like at household level, individual can reduce waste through smart meal planning and shopping, efficient food storage, creative use of leftovers, turning leftover vegetable into soup, composting turn kitchen scrap. So these are the suggestions. The title is beautifully presented at how food wastage can be minimized. Policymakers should be subsidize innovation, solutions, safe food, share food program initiative. These are the initiatives demonstrate the potential of large scale distributions, and addressing the food waste is essential for tackling carbon footprint, and ensuring the food security and reducing social inequality. Government, business, efficient food management that minimizes the waste, resources, consumptions, food choices. By making conscious food choices, reducing waste at every level, and advocating sustainable food system, we can move toward a future where food is preserved, resources are optimized, and no one goes to hungry. So writer is concluding this article here. Moving to the next article is about China ties beware condition conciliation without deterrence. So what the political wind seems to be shifting there, like this has not come out where of China. India relations has slowly recovered since they ruptured in 2023, where China launched a multiple incursion line of actual control in Lisi, Ladakh, and skirmishes. So sorry, I just waiting for the what is it? Yeah. So the line skirts till the 20 Indian soldiers Ladakh, and military talks heartily disengages the forces from many sides of border. Despite a diplomatic freeze, bilateral trade grew to set new records. Like less than 6 months, in October last, India and China made a surprising deal to distance their troops from last two incursion of sites, and the crisis was normally resolved. So India understands like it is not clear that Mr. Modi's comment on was simply new tone. If they precise the substantive policies here. So there is a Mr. Modi podcast appearance where India's Chief Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan met with senior commander from India's Quad, Australia, Japan, United States. And India's grand strategy is always prioritized to national economics development from that. So indeed, China boasts an economy more than 4 times and than India. So as a external affairs minister, Mr. S. Jaishankar has said bluntly, it's common sense for India to seek a sustainable and even profitable relationship with its giant neighbor. So three body problems are that New Delhi does not, however, make a policy and been examining through it. So ambitious policies turn, and Mr. Trump tariffs are busy, but his toughness is on trade does not seem to explain defense policy. And also the nominee for a top policy making job at a Pentagon, it will be collab. Apart from China, Trump also shows a predilection for orchestrating the grand bargains with a great power. So Trump also seeks to support Ukraine, even cutting off intelligence and America's Europe assistance, especially. So sharpen the sword with a new tone, like there's a possibility of conciliatory policies, some in New Delhi and maybe like attempted to conclude India can ease of investing in a cooperations with partners. In fact, opposite it true, India's military preparation have been also an anemic even despite of urgency imposed by Ladakh crisis. So in the interim, the Indian military should continue to pursue the operational cooperation with partner regardless of Washington turns, and ultimately the purpose of military is to deter. So moving to the next article is about the time to ditch the sexist complaints slogan. Writer is assistant professor from the electoral management studies, and she is just tell their opinion about her the elections are the continuous phenomenon in India where the women's where they're the using of the female in the name of just increasing their voting caste is for implementing many schemes in the names of females. And also so just writer is discussing here about the financial expenditure participation from array political parties and candidates. So there is also a women been increasing in the number of women voters, like political communication and feminization profilization of campaign practices. Despite of these challenges, it's a sloganeering. Uh, it's a sloganeering which remains central to election campaign is seen as an effective means of voter mobilization. Is embedded in the gender stereotypes. Slogans are often normalize the violence and reduce the woman to being a passive agent in a electoral landscape. So how communication grew here? Like evolution of mobilization in India has transformed the digital campaigns by 2020, and there is also a slogan driven by 1970. There is a slogan driven campaigns assume centrality like Indira Gandhi Garibi Hatao, remove poverty in 1970s. In 1980 television and radio were introduced, so revolutionized outreach even as the parties continue to use traditional method campaign like liberalization expansion in 2008 to internet based political messaging, also the smartphones and social media. So by 2022 AI machine learning data driven strategies define the political campaigns influencing the remain the pivotal public sentiments. So there is a like a bijli sadak pani to India to shifting na khaunga na khane dunga will be allow not anyone to indulge in it to sabka saath sabka vikas. So by encapsulating ideologies promises emotion is in catchphrase like slogans how slogans create a political identities mobilize voters influence the electoral outcomes. So how it's a sexist and undertones came here, like the phrases "Ghar ki Lakshmi" reinforces the primary role in women as a homemaker rather than as political factor. Next is महिलाओं के विकास के लिए वोट दो. It seems like highlights how political parties frame women as a beneficiaries rather than active decision maker. Also, Sakti का प्रतीक माँ का रूप symbol power form of mother reinforces a woman leader in maternal metaphor. लड़की हूँ लड़ सकती हूँ. I'm gonna fight also gives a gender stereotype of women that proven ability to compete in politics. Also, there is a scheme of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, like saving the girl child and educated girl child implies that daughter needs saving rather than the system social changes. It should also be that save boys, save educate, not only for the girls like say it's just of say implementing that it is always implemented on saving the daughters. Why are you just focusing on these things that your daughters should be saved? It's not like that. If was if everything if anything is normal, then it's just normalize the thing for everyone, not for just highlighting some on a basis of sexist on the gender racist. So the how the women political also the महिलाओं की सरकार सुरक्षा और सम्मान. It is an iteration of how women political agencies retreat to the victimhood. So in 2040 rally, a politician है लड़के लड़के हैं गलती हो जाती है. Like this not only trivializes sexual assault of women but also reinforces the patriarchal role of what men are allowed to do with women. And also saying बेटी की इज्जत से वोट की बड़ी होती है. That respect reduces the dignity of women. And comparing like party would say smooth particular female politician chicks comparing the women bodies to infrastructure carries obvious sexist undertones. So it is a smear campaigns here, like a leader questioning the assassinating their characters, and also comments on their appearances, lifestyle choices, martial status. Women leaders in India continually assets which believe in material status, reiterate the reforms, believe in women political must essentially conform. So a meaningful transformation requires slogan not only be backed by systemic changes, but also they disturb the dismantle tradition of thinking women roles and possibilities also. Electoral slogan can therefore go a long way, bringing about uh, structural changes also. It do not reinforce the patriarchal norms, do not trivialize the gender-based violence, and women as an active decision maker, spearheading change rather than the passive beneficiaries of schemes. It is a very beautiful article presented by this article, this writer. Now moving to the next, is the truth, the transparency. So there is a three this is related to the first phase, where the three judge panel, Chief Justice of India Sanjeev Khanna demonstrated a welcome of transparency and quelled speculation that institution may not act as a assembly on his issues accountability. um, and the action taken so far in the wake of while a fire was being doused at residents of prolonged, and CGI wants the wanted to get a bottom of issue despite of justice given by the Supreme Court website. So this is oriented. There's the truth. There is transparency there. Lesson not learned here. The Trump to move on the shut of Department of Educational irresponsible. So there's a after the targeting the healthcare, pulling the United States and paralyzing USAID, US President Donald Trump has turned another cornerstone to state education, whose long-term significance is indisputable. So last week he signed an exclusive order for being eliminating the Federal Department of Education DOE, owing in the shut to college and university students to provide a targeted support for disadvantaged group with disabilities and public aid to state level, only fractions of their baseline. So the Department of Education has been cross years of uncertainty, and since regaining of the goal, Trump even before signing this halved with the abrupt termination issued under the hallmark and new administration. So critically, the executive order cannot be remain as seen as whether. So next is the customer selects a bangle near a Charminar, Hyderabad. So it is a GI tag is already granted there for the City Lax bangle. City Lax bangles. So questions may be asked. So I added it. Next is the DBT completed sequencing of 10,000 TB genome samples um, on the occasion of the World TB Day. There was a Department of Biotechnology DBT, Ministry of Science and Technology has completed the genome sequencing of a third or 10,000 samples of a targeting the 32,500 samples of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, the behind the bacteria behind the tuberculosis, in the bid to improve the understanding of drug resistance TB and a unique feature of a TB bacterium. So there's a 7% said to be resistance to single drug, and also event organization by the DBT on a Monday to mark the World TB Day. So they launch the TB an umbrella program. So the generative sequencing initiative has been researched to indicate the TB, and the umbrella program of DBT was launched in 2022 with the goal of sequencing 32,500 samples in the center of broad missions to eliminate TB. 9 labs has held. CSIR and ICMR are involved in the program of called Consortium Indian Tuberculosis Genomic Surveillance, said to be expected to be samples, and India would eradicate tuberculosis in 2025, and WHO underlined to be the 5 years of targeting 2030 TB cases. So the disease bringing the number of cases close to zero, and latest India 1990 cases per million 2022 and 2370 for million 2050. So India account for 28% of new TB worldwide. This again, and 3,000 per million. Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, former head ICMR, and tuberculosis having a large pool of those asymptomatic TB means they will continue to spread disease. Asymptomatic disease is not also behind known, and when it is spread, that's why it is harmful. Next is about the Indian Navy announces a made in India African IOC Sagar. Maybe the picture is not clear here, so I am dictating and highlighting the important points. Let me just go through that article. So against the backdrop of massive inroads in China, and there is a Indian Navy has announced the initiative of border cooperation. It's continent ICR. It's IOR region. This includes a large-scale multi-national exercise, Africa-India Key Maritime Engagement, or a EI KME scheduled KME with a held scheduled 10 African countries, and IOS Indian Ocean ship under the offshore of patrol vessels INS Tsunami. It's INS African countries, and to be delivered is INS. IOS Sagar is initiative toward a continued operation of IOR, and INS Sunia is being deployed. It's INS Sunia is being deployed for the with combined crew of India and 9 friendly foreign countries. FFC INS Sunia is deployed to southwest. So it's a combined crew of India and 9 friendly foreign countries is Comoros, Kenya, Madagascar, Maldives, Mauritius, Mozambique, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, South Africa, and the plan to deploy over a month in April. So it's a Sagar security across region. It's a Mahasagar by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during the recent visit to Mauritius and made it initiative of IOS Sagar and Ekemia. Questions can be asked. Recent visit of Mauritius and also the HDR and bilateral, the maiden edition of Indian African Multi Exercises EI KMA. It's EI KMA. Will be conducted at Darsa, Tanzania. The location here. The Center for Not Sharing Organ Transplant. It's a national organ tissue transplant NATO, which function under the Director General of Health Services, call for urgent intervention. So impeded objective is like it a matter of serious concern. Many registered transplant have persistently failed to submit the daily monthly data on organ, and it undermines the ability to fulfill its mandate obligations, and communications should be. So 3D under the section 3D Transplantation Tissue Act 1994 NATO is entrusted with statutory responsibility for establishing and maintaining the national transport register, which is essential for monitoring organs. So here the rules. The transplant was tightened following the allegations of commercial dealing, especially allocations of organ to foreign national bypass and in stage of organ failure. So it's called for strict enforcement for revised guidelines. So that's for today. Yeah, one left is that high rate of a job cards deletion of Manregas. So the past 4 years there is a 10.43 crore have been name have been deleted from program, and the highlight the deletion has decided the government to push for a Aadhaar based payment, but the government has asserted there is no correlation between deletions and system, like 10 pages guidelines were then taken place only due to verifications of gram sabha held for Manregas and to social audit to gram. So deletion can be done only for such areas like permanent migrations, household, urban areas, different panchayat, and being declared urban settlements, card proved to be duplicate, and like a forged documents or death of workers. So in the main list 13 days according to guidelines twice a year it is conveyed to like discuss the draft list of jobs and deletion of prospective objection. So just ending this session here by summary. Let's have a summary. Front page is SC Collegium transfer the recommend transfer of Justice Verma, and Dhankar discusses the judicial accountability of Nadda and Khage. Second is about a tulip garden. Tulip Garden and police detained thousands of unrest spread in Turkey, and Maharashtra wants Kamran apology for Jokon Shendev. Third editorial is covering about the colossal wastage that is food waste for thought, and fourth is about China's ties, beware consolation without the deterrence. Fifth is about the time to ditch the sexist campaign slogans. Sixth is truth and transparency and lesson not learned. Seventh is about the GI tag given the city of Bangals, Hyderabad, and DBT complete sequencing of 10,000 TB samples. Eighth is about Indian Navy exercises and central concern about hospital for not sharing organ transplant. Ninth is about the center issue guideline to tackle the high rate job cards and addition under Manregas. So this is all for today. Thank you for connecting till the last. Tomorrow we'll meet with a new editorial. Till now, take care, good night, and thank you for connecting. And just give me a feedback if you like how was the editorial. Just give me suggestions and feedback, it matters me to lot. And if you're new to channel, just show the content. If you like the content, just subscribe to have updated for the upcoming newspapers. So thank you.